think that getting into the IT field is impossible without a computer science degree, but Tech Coach Ralph is here to prove you wrong. Get ready for some jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into this lucrative industry. Listen up, tech enthusiasts! Are you ready to break through into the IT field, but feel like you need a computer science degree to make it happen? Think again! Tech Coach Ralph has some exclusive, mind-blowing secrets to share with you. Get ready to be blown away by his jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into the tech industry without a computer science degree. So get your notepad ready, because Tech Coach is going to change your life forever. Buckle up, because you're about to embark on a journey to success in the IT field.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Today is Wednesday, January 3rd, 2024. We are no longer in 2023. If I haven't spoken to you since 2023, I want to wish you a happy new year. We are doing our second Coffee and Kata show for 2024. So let's get into it. If you do not know who I am your host, Tech Coach Ralph, where we are engineered to win. Let me move this back to the other side. All right. So let me acknowledge the early risers who are going after the worm this morning. So, as usual, we have my brother in the chat. Operation Tech Takeover says, peace and blessings, family. Good morning. Good morning to you as well, Operation Tech Takeover. Always a pleasure to have you in the house. And we have as well, we have D up early in the morning. Was talking to D last night, working on strategies and coaching after our show. After we had the Q&A show, then we jumped on a call. So like we put in the work, we work, right? And then we have as always,
good guy
in the chat early in the morning. My mind and coffee are ready. That's what I'm talking about. And you know what? Because we're all getting ready for the day. All right, so let's run through our news real quick. So let me get our timer up on. Oops, not that one. Get our timer up. And we will throw 5 minutes. Let's try to. If I put more time, then we're going to end up going for that time. So I rather put 5 minutes and go a little bit over, and know that we need to hit the wrap it up box instead of putting more time, and then we end up going over some more. All right, so let's do this. We're going to put our 5 minutes up, and we're going to go to our shared screen. And the first story for today is the algorithm denies rehab to seniors. All right, so is AI getting out of control now? So United Healthcare Group is once again under fire for its use of algorithms to deny care, this time to seniors seeking rehab services. The insurance giant set strict guidelines that prevented Medicare Advantage beneficiaries, including those living in nursing homes or with cognitive impairments, from accessing rehab, an investigation from Stat News found. The practice ended last November when regulators began ramping up scrutiny of Medicare Advantage plans, Stat reported, citing company documents. The Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services will begin auditing denials this year. So that's going to be interesting. Let's keep our eyes on that. What United Healthcare Group is, it's interesting. It's just the whole medical industry and healthcare industry. Is interesting how it has so much involvement from like so many hands are involved in it, and this is the challenges that start to happen when you have so many regulations and restrictions and stuff like that. So we'll keep an eye on that, see how the algorithm denies rehab, and probably doing a lot more to other people, right? So the next one that we get into is Generation Alpha, Gen A era begins. The social researcher who defined those born between 2010 and 2024 are as Generation Alpha says the group is likely to become the largest in history. Axios writes, Mark McCrindle says that as the immediate successors of Gen Z are comprised mostly of children of millennials, the Gen Alpha cohort will likely grow to more than 2 billion people. Dubbed iPad kids as their oldest members were born the same year the first iPads were released. So the first iPad released in 2010. Okay, cool. They are emerging as only ever knowing a world of the blurring of AI and human. So that is so Gen Alpha era begins. They so the last year for Gen Alpha is 2020. How does it begin? I don't know. But that's going to be interesting. So 2010 to 2024 Gen Alpha. And Tech Takeover, they're talking about the healthcare one, says tell me about it. Yeah, it's that is a tough field to maneuver, no doubt. All right. So let's jump into the next one. It says HSBC targets fintech upstarts. Or startups, upstarts. Okay. So HSBC, Europe's largest bank, is ready to stake its claim in the money transfer business with a new app that's meant to challenge the fintech space dominated by Wise and Revolt or Revolut. Revolut, my bad, Revolut. The app called Zing will launch in Apple's App Store and Google Play in the coming days. It will initially be available only in the UK, but CEO Nuno Matos, HSBC's head of global wealth and personal banking, says he has global ambitions for the multi currency app and debit product, including taking on established startups in the space. So HSBC is putting their resources to go to try to take over some of these startup spaces, or maybe they'll buy some of them out. We shall see. All right. HSBC already offers a fee-free multi-currency service called Global Money, Bloomberg notes, but Matos says Zing could ultimately entice more customers to the bank. It is a bank eat bank world out there, so I hope that if you are in that space, working in that space, that you continue to level up your skills. Be very, very wise and diligent how you move in whatever tech industry that you're in, because there is always someone who is coming for your company to take you out of business or buy you out. So make sure you are properly prepared to move. So Tech Overhead said, tell me about it. And he says the medical is getting crazier by the day. I am sure like you probably have so much insight. Maybe we need to connect to hear a little bit more about that. But yeah, I'm like I couldn't even imagine. Like I was working in a pharma company, not this past year, but like up to 2022, and so many regulations and stuff like that that you need to be in compliance with. So I can only imagine. All right, and let's jump over to our next one. We have actually I have 4 more to go. I'm gonna throw up another 3 minutes on the clock. It says streamers see more defections. So, you know, um, just like back in those Cold War days when people would defect to America and stuff like that, right? So now we're defecting for streaming. So Americans are pushing back against the rising cost of streaming services, with cancellations jumping to 6.3% in November from 5.1% a year earlier. Antenna, a subscription analytics provider, also said that about a quarter of customers had quit a major streamer such as Netflix and Disney, up to 15% 2 years ago. To better retain subscribers, streamers have launched ad supported tiers, bundled services, and offered discounts. But for some customers, that's not enough. A dearth of new material following last year's strikes by actors and writers in Hollywood has undercut interest. And like I said, I didn't even know that because I've been so busy working on my own stuff, I didn't even know that there was a strike until I noticed Law and Order and Chicago PD and stuff like that didn't come back on air. I'm like, what in the world is going on? But it is what it is. I didn't really lose much sleep over it. It actually probably helped me gain sleep. Able to keep pushing forward. So by them cutting, like by them not being having the shows, it actually was much more beneficial to me. But yeah, like I just got a message the other day that they're going to be adding ads to Amazon Prime shows. I don't know if it's already started, but I know it's coming. Um, and and if you don't want the ads, you can pay like $2.99 for it. Which I'm like, I don't watch Amazon. I don't watch TV enough to have to do that. But it's just like, yeah, like prices are continuously going up. Like I remember last year the Google Premium prices went up, and I was like, geez, but I am so like integrated into Google Premium that it would be impossible for me to cut that. So it is what it is. All right. All right, let's go to our next one. It says drone delivery to take off in 2024. So logistics experts are expecting to see use of delivery drones expand significantly this year, now that the Federal Aviation Administration has loosened some restrictions on the technology. Axios reports. Companies including Zipline, Wing, and Amazon are all set to ramp up the robotics deliveries in suburban areas, which could reduce the number of trucks on the road. But drones may also heighten customer expectations, says Zipline CEO Keller Ronaldo Clifton, with two F's, by the way, warning that before long, people will be looking at their watch and saying, "You're 30 seconds late." Hey, don't be late with my package, all right? Don't be late with my package. But I do want to say as well, you there's going to be new positions for drone operators, right? And I've tried to fly drones in the past, and I don't know. I need a better drone to work on, but I also want to. I also don't want to pay a bunch of money on a drone and then lose it, you know. But definitely, it is definitely like it's going to be another thing. Like so, one like let's say truck like there's a need for less trucks, but they're not. There now might be a need for more drone operators. So everything is an opportunity in my eyes. All right. So the next one that we jump into is Mr. Elon Musk. X value tumbles under Musk reign. So X, formerly Twitter, as we must always say, is worth 71.5% less than when Elon Musk bought it in late 2022. According to a new Fidelity disclosure, the financial service company, which helped Musk buy the social network, said X lost more than 10% of his value in November alone, when the billionaire made headline grabbing comments that alienated major advertisers. It's not the first time Fidelity has written down the value of its X shares under Musk ownership. Musk himself, however, is closing out the year as the world's richest person per Bloomberg with a net worth of $232 billion. Fidelity valued its stake in X at more than 19 million when Musk purchased the site. Now that figure has dropped to just under 5.6 billion. X is bringing back news headlines after critics argued Musk's October decision to remove them from links shared to the platform made it more difficult to determine what news articles other users were sharing. So, I mean, interesting that I wonder if the I wonder, like, when they bought it, how much of it was actually inflated versus how much has it actually lost, right? I don't know. The whole valuations and stuff. I don't know what it's necessarily based on. Remember when it was being bought, there was said that there were like so many of the users were bots and stuff like that. So who knows? Who knows? All right. The last one that we get into, as we always like to do, Tesla loses top spot in EV sales. So, Chinese automaker BYD beat out Tesla to become the new leader in global electric car sales in the final quarter of last year. Tesla on Tuesday revealed it had delivered a record 484,507 cars, don't forget the seven, in the last 3 months of 2023, compared with 526,409 for BYD, right? While Tesla still sold more cars than BYD for the full year, 1.8 million compared to 1.57 million. The quarterly milestone hints at the next stage in the long awaited Chinese takeover of electric segments. I don't even know how the BYD cars look. Maybe we can do a quick search on that, right? Um, US based Rivian delivered 13,000 cars, 13,000, not million, 13,972 electric vehicles last quarter. It announced Tuesday 10% fewer than the previous quarter and below analyst expectations. Many EVs lost eligibility for US tax credits after new battery sourcing rules took effect on Monday, including the Tesla Cybertruck all wheel drive and some Tesla Model 3s. As sales hit records, investors concerned that mounted around the demand for electric vehicles in coming years. So I'm just curious to see real quick, how does the before we get into our coding challenge, how does the BYD cars look? So what do we have? Oh, so this is a BYD. Very nice. Doesn't look bad actually. Mm, BYD Han. Huh. Looks very nice. Looks very nice. Anyways, we can do some more looking into that. I'm definitely gonna look more into that. We can take a look into that, see what's up with BYD about its exterior, interior, technology, performance, all of that good stuff. All right. So that being said, let's jump. What time is it? Let's throw 25 minutes on the clock, and we will jump into our coding challenge. All right. So 25 minutes is up, and let's close some of this stuff out. All right. So we have our PyCharm open with. So I'm gonna go with PyCharm for this test. We're gonna go with PyCharm for this, and we or Python, and we will let's do a new directory. Actually, I'm not gonna create a new directory. Actually, what I'm going to do is terminal, and we're going to go to our GitHub repo, and we're going to pull in the fork that we created, right? So we are going to go over here, and we are going to say copy URL, and we go back to over here, and we're going to say git clone and put in the. Now we should get a folder. There we go. So now if we go into cd AI, and we are in the folder in terminal, and here we are. All right. So our README file, which we went over together on Monday, the first day of the year, right? So we need to get an OpenAI key. So let me get a new OpenAI key for this challenge. And this challenge is going to take you a little bit of investment in yourself, because you are you're going to get some exposure to AI, like to the OpenAI APIs, and I'm trying all these things out. So let me see, OpenAI. So let's see here, OpenAI, login, API integration, and to like I showed on Monday, to get a API key, we're gonna go over to API keys, create new API key, and we can call this the CC Chaos Camp Open AI API testing challenge, right? And then we're going to create secret key, but I am not going to do that on screen. Create secret key. My key is created. I am going to copy that, right? And then where do I want to put it? I am going to go here. I like to document my API key somewhere so I can have I can always reference it if I need it. So I don't want to have to go like create a new one every single time. So all right, cool. So I have my API key documented, and now if I go back to our code here, let's see. So now we have to do export our API key. So export OpenAI API key equals, and inside the single quotes, I'm going to paste my API key, which I will not do on screen. And we I probably overrided something that I needed, but I can always get it back. Anyways, so let's clear that out. All right, so now that our open AI key is set, we can continue, right? So replace your API key with the actual API key provided from OpenAI. And we will, all right, so first things first, let's go ahead and install our testing framework. So we're going to go with I'll put PyTest for now. But we could go with I would like to use Behave actually, but for now let's go with PyTest to start writing our tests. But Behave would be pretty cool to also do for BDD format. Thinking about it. Behave or PyTest? Let's go with Behave actually. I want to go with Behave. We can always pivot in the future. Yeah. All right. Let's go with Behave. Like, let's pivot a little bit. We'll go with Behave because we'll get some new exposure. I use Behave at work, and we can get some new exposure to a new testing framework. That way, we can see how we can use BDD when we are how we can use BDD when we are doing our test. It's all about pushing your like simulating your mind, trying out new things. So let's create our requirements file as well. Let's do we'll come back to the requirements file, right? So all right, so we have our API key. So we have our challenge test specific accuracy. Write a set of tests that send specific prompts to the AI and compare the results with predefined answer set. So we're gonna have to find like the predefined answer set. No problem, right? Develop tests that generate a wide variety of prompts to examine how well the API handles diverse input selections. Long conversations. All right. So what we're gonna do first is let's go ahead and create. So in part of Behave, right? We need to have a directory call. So let's read this documentation, right? I wonder if I can make it bigger. Let me see. View. Um, Not sure. I don't know. Maybe I can't make it bigger. But we need to have a directory called feature file. And in that directory, we have a file called example.feature containing stuff like this, right? So features showing off behave, scenario, and then our given when then, all right? So if you're not familiar with BDD, I would definitely suggest you brush up on it for as this is how we are going to take on this challenge. You can do it a different way, but I wanted to go using behave this time. You can definitely use PyTest or unit test or whatever, but this is the way that we're going, right? So we're going to create a folder called features. And what we can do is we can start creating our feature file where we'll name this. So what we'll do, we're going to name our feature files based on the different challenges that we have, right? So in one feature file, we will have our task specific accuracy. So we'll have a scenario that says, all right, where we write tests that's in the specific prompts to the AI, and so that way we'll get exposure to testing AI. We'll get exposure to using the BDD format, using behave in Python. And we'll just have so let's write our first feature file, right? So the first one is let's call that task specific accuracy dot feature, and we can add that to here. And let's enable the plugin for we can properly write our feature files in behave. Let's see. Incompatible requires IDE. Great. So we're gonna have to update this. Let's see. All right. So I will update this on my own later. I'm not gonna update this while on the stream, but let's say so we have this, right? We'll enable the extension later, but let's say feature, and once I have this extension enabled, it'll format it a lot nicer with pretty colors and everything like that. So let's not worry about that for now. But let's say this feature is going to be, so what I'm going to do, I am going to let me minimize this a little bit. Let me close this over here, and I will separate this like that, so that way we can have the readme file on one side and we can have our feature file on the other side, right? So we have the feature is testing task specific accuracy. And next time on our next show on Friday, like I'll have the plugin. I have the IDE updated with the plugin enabled, so you can see how it actually looks when the plugin is enabled. So bear with me for that for now. I just don't want to waste the time updating the IDE on the show, and then we're end up wasting a bunch of time, a bunch of valuable time. All time is valuable, okay? All time is valuable. Just remember that. So we have feature testing. So we have the feature testing task specific accuracy, and we'll have like a scenario, and like I said, we'll format this after. So scenario, we will say so write a set of tests that send specific prompts to API and compare the results to predefined answers, right? So scenario is so yeah, the scenario is pretty basic, like send specific prompt to the API to compare results to a predefined answer set, right? So that's our scenario. Very like, and that's one like because there's there becomes like two parts to when you're using BDD and cucumber gherkin stuff like that, right? You have your feature file, and then you have a step file, which will detail here, right? Um, we'll detail like we'll see it in the documentation, but it becomes a two-part thing where you have your your plain text written so anybody can understand. Like you're seeing right here, this is very, very easy to understand, all right? No biggie. And now, so we have our scenario. Let me make this little. And now we have here where don't mind the format for now, but we say if you look at the documentation over here, given we have behave installed, when we implement 5 tests, then behave will test them all for us, right? So um just kind of indent this for now. And then so let's say so I'm just gonna write the basic test out, right? And that's the cool thing about it. Anybody can really write these tests. It's when it comes to actually implementing the code for it, that's when it's going to be like QA engineer mindset and stuff like how we're going to write this code out, right? But very basic. Given, so so write a test that sends specific prompts to the API and compare the results to a predefined answer set. All right, so basic. So, and what I'll do is I will also post the link to the behave documentation in the description of the video so that you can read up on that so you can be able to follow along moving forward. This was a total last minute decision to use behave, and it's going to be good. Like trust me, it is going to be well worth it. Okay. So, so let's say how do we write this test out, right? So, write a set of tests that's specific prompt, send specific prompt. So given I have a prompt, and the prompt, let's say the prompt is what is, so based on our news stories, right? What is the top selling EV vehicle for 2023? Right? And like as we start to write the code, we might end up adjusting we might adjust the wording, but this is the concept, right? When I send the prompt to the when I send the prompt to the OpenAI API, then OpenAI API returns me a response of Tesla, right? And I'm just like writing it out right now. There might be some more steps that come as a result of this, but this is the general idea of BDD, of writing a feature file in the Gherkins format. Like I said, I'll enable the plugin. I have to update the IDE and enable the plugin, so next time we can format it and you can see it like all with the pretty colors and stuff like that, right? But this is the general format that you would write a Gherkins feature file in, right? Here now, the thing that we need is we need to figure out where do we get that predetermined answer set, right? So what we can do, we can go to the Chaos Camp challenge and we can Google it. We can ask Don in an issue, like open up a issue, which is going to be like just a question about that, right? Because that'll be helpful to us because we need to know we need to know where do we get our data from, because the answer should be Tesla, but who knows, right? So that's one aspect of it. Then the other aspect of it is that we're going to be reading through the API documentation for OpenAI to see, like, all right, what is going to be the request that we're going to need to send to this. So so this is the very basic, right? This is our getting our feature file, right? So now let's say we have this feature file, and what we can do, like, I don't know if they have it in this documentation, but if not, we can definitely go to, so this is right here is like when we start implementing our steps, given we have behave installed, when we implement such and such, all that, right? But we'll get through the documentation a little bit more as we get closer to it. But what we're also going to do is, like, let's say because they have something called scenario outline, right? Let's pull up the behave documentation because that way I can explain it better as well. Let me see. Behave Python. And I have my brother in the chat, Nico Socks, who is working tirelessly. Says, "Good morning, all. Enjoying your content this morning on my drive to the office." And that is one of the reasons that I love doing this morning show, because I know Operation Tech Takeover is on his drive to the office as well. I know Socks is on his drive to the office, and I just enjoy hanging out with my tech family and just giving them some, even if you're just listening about the things that I'm talking about, I know that it's going to sink in and everything like that. And it's just, it's just enjoyable content for me, at least. Like, I really enjoy it. I don't know about everybody else, but I really, really enjoy it. So just knowing that I can be on the drive with Tech Takeover, I can be on the drive with Socks, I can help good guy enjoy his coffee. I can give D some new ideas. So that is like one of my and that's one of the reasons I really enjoy it. Like, it's not always easy to wake up in the morning to do it, but the reward is so well worth it. All right. And by the way, as of now, Socks and I plan on going live on January 16th, where we will be doing our cybersecurity Q&A and and we will be debuting Socks University as well, giving a tour of that. So definitely everyone get ready for January 16th. I'm going to work this week on scheduling it so that you can have ample amount of time to be ready with your questions for Cybersecurity Night, where we will be spending a good amount of time talking about Socks U. All right. So let's jump into this documentation for Behave. And one of the things, like one of the things, like a- as you get more and more into the field, right? Let me switch over to the documentation, right? But at work this year, like my first time using Behave, first time really getting involved in gherkins and stuff like that, I needed to do something specific with Behave, and they didn't have, like, it was like a feature version difference, right? So what I did is I got a version of Behave, and I should have just forked it now that I think about it, right? I went about it in a whole roundabout way, but I went and I updated the version of it, or either of Behave, or I updated a version of something to be able to get it to work to what I was working on for Report Portal to integration. So it's like, as you like, and that's why I always tell people, like, get your foot in the door, get started, because as you continue to work through it, you're going to start to see new things, like new doors are going to open up, and that's why I always say, like, just start doing something, just start getting started, okay? So that was a pretty cool thing to do, right? So let me zoom in on the documentation. All right, so let's see. We already is this the right documentation? So let me see, content. All right, we're good. So what I want to show is let me see. We're still in the feature file, right? We're still in the feature file, but so all right, so let's look at this real quick, right? So when it says background, that is like setting up preconditions. So it'll do this before it even starts with the scenario, right? So let's say we needed to do a some type of connection to OpenAI from the beginning. We could do it in the background, and every time it's going to run a scenario, it's going to do that connection. But let's not worry about that right now. What I want to focus on is and so the format for behave, right? We have given that a customer buys a blue garment, and then you have and it changes, right? So given, this is also going to be a given and all of that. Um, and then when, then all that, right? So what I want to talk about is the scenario outline, right? So like I said, I will put the link to behave in the documentation so that you can read through it. But what I want to do is I want to talk about the scenario outline because instead of having a bunch of tests that say the same thing, and we have to say, okay, this is the one for prompt one, this is the one for prompt two, this is the one for prompt three. I want to use the scenario outline, right? And we'll say given given I have a prompt, and then we're going to have like prompt. When I send the prompt to OpenAI, right? then it should then OpenAI should return me a response, and then we would have our predefined list of response, right? So that's what I want to show. And we will. So let's do that real quick. Um, do that real quick. So we're gonna go here, and so scenario outline. Send a specific prompt to OpenAI to compare. So we're gonna say this is going to be. Let's cut this out, and we'll say given I have a prompt and prompt to send to OpenAI. And like you've seen in the past, right? I like my variables to be very, very specific, even if they're long, right? I know some people they don't like long um variables, but as we saw in the show last night, we have some people who are using class names of like first class and first class one, which is a big, big no no. So let's do that. We have our prompt. I wonder if I can zoom in some more. Let's increase. Let's do that. So let's finish this up real quick, and we will then wrap it up. So we have that, and we say open. So then OpenAI returns with a response of, and then we'll name this as the response from OpenAI API, right? So we have our two variables, and then we go down here and we say examples, and we call that prompts to send. And we say, all right, so we call this one prompt to send to OpenAI. And we have here, and here we have response from OpenAI API, right? So then we will say our prompt that we had here. Let's take off this. And when I first used like this type of format like years ago, maybe it might have been like 8 years ago or something. One thing I didn't like was like the formatting, which I'm still not crazy about it. I wish I could just like pull it in from a spreadsheet or something, which I'll investigate to see if that's possible. But we'll see, right? So here is our here is our feature file, right? And it'll look nicer next time we come around. But feature testing, task specific accuracy, scenario outline, and then we have our description of it. And then given I have a prompt and the prompt that we're going to send, when I send the prompt to OpenAI's API, then OpenAI returns me with a response. So what we can do is we can we'll focus on this test on Friday, or this feature file on Friday, we don't have to like write out all of the which is not a problem if you write out all of your challenges, all of your feature files, because a lot of times, like if you are working in the right environment, and let's say, um, if you're using BDD the way that like it was designed to be used, then you can probably get all the feature files written for you, and then you have to go in and write out the actual steps and stuff like that. Which, but we're gonna do it a little differently because we want to see some progress. We want to see like different exposure to it, and then we can like continue to get into like these different parts of the challenge, creating the feature files and stuff like that. So that's gonna be what we'll be looking into. We have like 10 different challenges, right? That we're going to. It's going to be at least 10 different feature files because I see a feature file for input validation and sanitation, feedback loops, memory and context evaluation, all of this stuff. Right? It's going to be its own feature file. So we're going to have a very very good exposure to Behave, to OpenAI. We're going to read through the documentation on Friday as well of OpenAI's API. And what we're going to do as well is actually just do this real quick because no, before we do that, like we'll research what we can get for like the predefined answer set, and I can also reach out to Don as well to see where we can find that. But we'll do our own like we always do our own research first, right? So let's go back to full screen. Hopefully that was helpful and informative, like to the route that we're going to be taking for this challenge. Now I'm like, oh shit, maybe I should just keep going next week in it, because this is going to be a very fun challenge. Maybe we'll push off the code wars. I don't know. We'll see. I got to think about it, because I do want to get into code wars as well. So we'll see. Or maybe I don't know. I have to think about it. But we are going to do some amazing things, right? But before we wrap up the show for today, let me check out the comments in the chat. So Operation Tech Takeover says it all doesn't sink in right away, but watching your show in the morning is helping me retrain my brain. It is helping me unlock my analytical side in a productive way. Awesome. That's great. And that's like it makes it all worth it, right? And I'm also gonna reach out to you, Tech Took Over, about something else too. But I'll reach out to you on LinkedIn, because it was about a conversation that I had last night with somebody else who's been in the industry for a very long time, and some insight that they had. I'll probably be going probably have a conversation with them at some point live, which you would definitely want to tune into about their perspective. But I think that perspective is going to be really helpful. So we'll talk about that. All right. And Nico says pandas maybe for data frames, in reference to the spreadsheets. Yeah, that might be something, right? I have to look into it. It's just like because I know that Behave and Gherkins is very specific about this format. So I'll definitely have to see if this is something that I will be able to but I mean, I don't know. I'll talk about it next time. But there's some conflicting ideas on which is the best route to take. But I'll talk about it next time. But I think we'll leave it as this for now because this is a very good introduction to Behave and Gherkins and everything like that. So stick around for it, and we shall have some fun. So that being said, thank you guys for tuning in to the morning show. I do have the video scheduled for noon Eastern time, where we're going to be starting our review and our analysis of which is the right automation framework for 2024. We're going to be talking about Selenium, Cypress, and Playwright. So tune in for that at noon. And we will be going back live tomorrow night at 7:15 p.m. Eastern time. And then I'll see you guys same time, same place on Friday morning. So just getting everything ready for the week. Like I said last night, our our strategy for 2024 is focus and growth, and that's what we're going to be working on. So With that being said, thanks again for tuning in. If you haven't done so already, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you can know every time we go live. Like the video, share the video. Check out the Patreon at www.techcoachralph.dev. And until next time, you guys have a wonderful and very, very productive day. And we are out.
You might think that getting into the IT field is impossible without a computer science degree, but Tech Coach Ralph is here to prove you wrong. Get ready for some jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into this lucrative industry. Listen up, tech enthusiasts! Are you ready to break through into the IT field, but feel like you need a computer science degree to make it happen? Think again! Tech Coach Ralph has some exclusive, mind-blowing secrets to share with you. Get ready to be blown away by his jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into the tech industry without a computer science degree. So get your notepad ready, because Tech Coach Ralph is going to change your life forever. Buckle up, because you're about to embark on a journey to success in the IT field.